very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
Really?
Brexit means Brexit.
Why?
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
China.
What?
China.
What?
China.
We looked at the dining table and saw an opportunity to play with whack.
Strong and stable.
Stood alone last night as
Kipper, you are fake news.
Why?
Because the reality may be that you don't know what is going on, but people won't be able to tell the difference.
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
Why? Just why?
Welcome back, guys, to Why Just Why. This is the final part of Brexit. Promise this time. Final part.
Nah.
Final part.
Until
next week. until we don't get through everything. But no, honestly, this should be it. We did cover a lot of ground last week, and we should be able to wrap this up. But again, as always, I am Craig Taylor. To my left, I have Iain Reynolds.
Hey, folks.
To my right, I have Dave Tinsley.
Hello.
And we are Why Just Why. Thanks again for listening in. We're going to pick up straight where we left off and just get straight into it.
That's a little background into Boris, right? Now we're going to actually talk about what he's done while he's been in Parliament in this short term.
In the few months.
Yeah,
The few months. This is the thing, is that he's not been in for that long and he's already fucked so much stuff up. It's unreal.
I was just going to say that. He's much more interesting than Theresa, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I
already.
mean, if you think about the last episode, we were struggling to think of interesting things to tell you about Theresa. He's been in for 2 months.
Yeah.
But we'd struggle. In the 2 months, if we actually went into detail, we'd struggle to fit it into about 5 episodes.
Yeah, true.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, all right, so the first thing that he did, basically, was that he turned around and told everyone in the UK that we are leaving. We are leaving on the 31st. It's happening. We're leaving. There is no two ways about it. Deal or no deal. And I've even got a clip for you.
Oh, here he is with his clips. There he is.
Oh, yeah, I've got my clips now.
Kate Ferguson from The Sun.
Hello, Prime Minister. Can you make a promise today to the British public that you will not go back to Brussels and ask for another delay to Brexit?
Yes.
And sorry.
I can.
And would you
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
So you would resign?
Okay,
first
let me play that a little bit again.
and ask for
We'll
that
listen to
delay?
that again.
That you will not go back to Brussels and ask for another delay to Brexit?
Yes.
And sorry.
I can.
And would you
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
So you would resign first, Prime Minister, rather than go and ask for that delay?
I just don't. I really. It costs £1 billion a month. It achieves absolutely nothing. What on earth is the point of a further delay? I think it's totally pointless.
That basically says it all right there. He'd rather be dead in a ditch.
Totally pointless.
It was put, that was bandied around everywhere. He'd rather be dead in a ditch. We are leaving. Deal or no deal. It's happening. It is happening. We're leaving. And on that video as well, he was backed by policemen. There was hundreds of police officers behind him, and men and women prominent in the front, and it was all there to basically say, oh look at me, I'm going to bring more police into the forefront of the UK, we're bringing back police. It was all a political stunt.
But that was the whole of the British police force right there in that crowd, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's all of them. That's all of them that we've got left
From everywhere. From Liverpool, Manchester,
the cuts have been that rough.
That's all we've got left. Thanks to Theresa, that's the extent of our police force. But that was basically what he promised everyone, that we were going to leave regardless of what was going to happen. And then one of the first things he actually did, so on the 28th of August, he said he was going to prorogue Parliament. So from anyone who's not familiar with British parliamentary procedure, and I would be surprised if you're that familiar.
You don't know?
Don't know?
Come on, guys.
So prorogation involves someone called the Black Rod.
Oh, why?
Which
the Black Rod of Justice,
which we're not going to get into right now.
That's a naughty superhero.
So we're not getting into all this now. But
Shaft. I just want I just want him to. What's his name? Fucking. I just want Samuel Jackson just to rock up, like right now, just kick through the window and just be like,
Just fling his badge into the wall like a ninja star.
I am the black shaft of justice.
You're damn right. Right, so prorogation, for anyone who doesn't know, it's an act within Parliament where a new government comes in and they set out essentially their agenda, what they're going to do for the next 5 years that they're in government. So every time a new government comes in, they prorogue Parliament, which is basically shutting it down for a few days.
Little time out,
so that they can write a big speech and say, right, okay, this is what's on the agenda, this is what we're going to cover over the next few years while we're in power, we're going to sort all this out, we're going to get shit done. Big call to arms, big rallying cry. And the Queen actually delivers this speech. So they prepare a Queen's speech. Normally that lasts 2 to 4, maybe 5 days.
Yeah, most of the week usually.
Yeah, about a week.
Have we had these before, by the way? Just
Every government basically does one, yeah. But it ends a session of Parliament and then starts a new one. So every time a new government comes in or a government's re-elected, you prorogue Parliament for a few days and they start the session again. So this happens all the time. And the only reason it hasn't happened for a good while is because all they've been doing is debating Brexit. So they didn't prorogue Parliament the last time, and it's been going on for ages.
It's all been about Brexit.
It's all been about Brexit.
Screw like now and then they'll mention other stuff and go fuck around with the stuff.
Yeah,
that's why I usually fuck around with things, because they're not really paying attention. The idea
it's
is
all Brexit.
It's all Brexit, and then now and then you'll just poke something else. Do you know what I mean?
So what about all this human trafficking we're hearing? Is there anything to do with Brexit? Well, it could be to do with... No, it's not important stuff.
And it's gone.
It's gone. So we've got this new human rights bill that's coming in. Is it to do with Brexit? No. And it's gone. So that's all they've been doing. So the prorogation is fair, realistically, for Boris to come in and go, okay, I want to lay out what I'm going to do. Now, the problem with it was, instead of like 2, 3, 4 days, he decided he wanted to prorogue Parliament for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And that meant...
He just misread it, do you know, when he wrote it down wrong, that's all. He went, I meant to write days, sorry.
My bad.
Oopsie.
A lot on my mind. My hair just not... I've tried every bloody gel under the sun.
Now, this also included the time that Parliament was out anyway. So, essentially, what it would mean is that a Prime Minister would have come in and been sitting as Prime Minister and been actively avoiding any kind of oversight by the rest of Parliament for pretty much the first 3 months that he was in power.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't have been seen. And it also meant that Parliament would have about 15 seconds to decide whether or not to back whatever he got from Brussels in Brexit.
Another reason I would just point out, there is a brain under that wig.
There is a brain under that wig.
He's bullying and pressurising Parliament to say, listen, clock's ticking here, we're back in now, vote me dealing. He's like,
we didn't even have a deal then.
I know, but whatever he's come up with, he's creating the opportunity to get what he wants.
Yeah.
Whatever he decides that he wants, he's just giving people minimal time. He's pressurising, putting them into a corner.
Yeah. Bullying tactics.
Oh yeah, it's totally bullying tactics. So he just wanted them out the way so he could basically do whatever he wanted. He did that. He prorogued Parliament. Everyone kicked up a stink, even people on his own side. There was loads of people under the Conservatives, tons of them. It was wildly unpopular.
Just like, why?
But there was tons of them who were trying to get it through the courts to basically say it was unlawful. And this is one of the first times that a UK government and a UK Prime Minister has been ruled to be unlawful in history. It went through the courts. He got found to be lying to the Queen over the suspension of Parliament. So we all knew why he was suspending Parliament. Sure. Everyone knew why he was suspending Parliament. But it's now been proven that he was unlawful in suspending Parliament.
I love, like, he's even bullshitting. He's literally just bullshits everyone. He's the proper bullshitter. Yeah. And he's went, fuck it, I can take on the Queen. I can bullshit the Queen.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, are you intending to prorogue Parliament for your own gain? No, Your Majesty. No, perish the thought, Majesty.
Mr. Johnson, I smell the bullshit.
One has the distinct odour of a porky pie. I believe, Mr. Johnson, I can smell your pants being on fire.
I can smell bovine feces.
Mr. Johnson, is that the distinct odour of bovine excrement coming from your larynx? Yeah, it's just... He's a fucking arse. He's an arse. And everyone knew what he was doing. And then even like his cabinet, the cabinet that he elected, and he basically just purged the entire cabinet that was there previously, all of the people who were in under Theresa.
Yeah.
He got rid of pretty much all of them.
He praised Theresa. He praised Theresa. He was like, oh yeah. He said, she'll always have a place on my cabinet.
Get to the back benches.
In his speech.
Oh my God, I know. I remember that.
So grateful for everything she's done. She'll always have a place in my cabinet. Not. No. More bullshit.
But it's like some of the people he put in there, he put like, I get one of them, Sajid Javid. I mean, he was in the cabinet anyway, he was a minister, he was the Home Secretary for a while, and he moved him into Chancellor of the Exchequer. I get that, realistically.
Was he accountant or something, was he?
Yeah, well, he was a banker. So, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, see, that's a rare, very rare, logical move, right? In the positioning in politics, what person takes what job. Someone has experience in a field, so we'll put him in something related to that field.
Yes, we'll do it. Not like the last thing that he was in was, he's a banker, so let's put him in charge of the police.
Yeah.
Because that's what bankers really know.
Gods, no, you can't have that. No money for you.
And then it's like, Priti Patel.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Just a quick aside on her, because again, this is something that we could cover for ages. She was kicked out of front bench government because she was liaising with foreign powers.
And quite literally, that in itself should be an illegal act. She shouldn't be allowed in politics right there and then.
Yeah,
an
right
act
there
like
and
that. That's it. You're not allowed in politics anymore. You cannot have nothing to do within the public sector.
And now she's the Home Secretary, in charge of, again, stuff like immigration, police. Just...
It's almost like you have to do one thing illegally, and then you can become a successful
you
politician.
can just do whatever you want.
It's like a hazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
What are you gonna
do? What you can do? You can either do drugs, or human trafficking, or dodgy deals. I mean, you choose.
Where are you going to bring?
But you can only do one. You can only do one.
Just one.
You choose more than one, you're out of it.
But the thing with Priti Patel as well is that she was a former lobbyist for big tobacco and alcohol. She's not exactly a person that I would describe as a good person of character anyway, and she's now in charge of... Well, she's in charge of immigration, and the other thing is that she is wildly anti-immigration. Wildly.
She's been a bit quiet lately, hasn't she?
A little bit quiet. There's been a few bits coming up with her involving deportation of terrorists and some things on police numbers. She's been piping up every now and again when there's been a stabbing or something in London. So you do see her about, but she's not been phenomenally effective.
Yeah,
then again, none of them have, because it's all been about Brexit. And now we're back into an election, so none of them are actually in the cabinet now anyway. We actually don't have a government at the moment.
Yeah, good point. Because they've only been in for a few months, so I suppose it's difficult to make a difference straight away.
Well, that's the thing. When he formed the cabinet and you start to look through, you start to get a bit wary, like, oh God, why are they there?
Yeah.
And it started to fall apart quite quickly anyway. His own brother.
Joe Johnson
was like, sod this.
Yeah. The more professional looking of the Johnson brothers.
We even went, this is just madness. It's like a positive thing as well. We got this election because now it deformed that cabinet. I mean, he might reform it stronger. Hopefully not.
Well, who knows? We have to stay impartial.
Yeah, time will tell.
But then it makes me laugh with him putting this cabinet in. He basically just reorganised everything, and it's the biggest, most extensive cabinet reorganisation without a change in the party itself in political history.
He created positions
he
as well.
just walked in and went, "All you fuckers get out."
Yeah.
All you fuckers come in. Does everyone agree with me? Yes. No, get out. Anyone else want to agree with me? Yeah. Get in. Right. Everyone agree with me? Yeah. Let's get on with this then.
It's smart. He's got a really strong unit around him. But I think it's the massive thing that he's He's actually
I'm going to use the joke again. He is a really strong unit.
Yeah. He's created positions. He's got a bigger cabinet, than most people usually have.
Yeah, because I mean, with his, you can understand it in some points because he created stuff like the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster. That position wasn't really a position before, and he put Michael Gove in, which we're quite surprised about, realistically, when that happened, because Gove did stab him in the back in the last election. But you know what they say, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. And Gove essentially became the no deal guy. So that was what that position was created for. That was the let's make sure that we're not completely screwed when we drop out of Europe without a deal.
Yeah, he's meant to be preparing companies and just citizens in general for what to do when Brexit happens. He's actually part of the campaigns where you're hearing about, you probably heard it on the news about the fact that you won't be able to drive, you'll have to get in different countries, you won't be able to take your car, you'll have to apply.
Yeah, you'll have to apply for foreign permits.
So in all fairness, he's actually doing his job. The media is out there informing people that things are changing. Go onto this website, look onto that. So even though I haven't actually seen Gove in the media saying stuff, the effects of his job, I think he actually has been doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would like to see how much he personally has been doing rather than his team.
Yeah, it's probably team.
But the team has been doing things. I'd like to see what he was doing.
See how much input he actually had in the whole situation.
I'm not the most trusting person in the world of Michael Gove, but I mean,
he might have been an all-nighter, coked up to hell, and they go, guys, I've got an idea.
I'm so motivated right now.
Saturday in his bills and socks, just boxer shorts. No, we know he's definitely a white front man, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a tighty whitey guy. Yeah.
Gotta be, ain't he?
White fronts with that little yellow patch. Nice hairy legs and big
budgie smugglers that just cut just that little bit so you can just see the bush.
just a few fellas poking out going, hey.
Spider's legs at the bottom.
Oh,
bit of bush at the top.
that's one nasty image.
Oh,
great big 6-inch medallion.
Nah, he's rocking a 10 in, man. That's that smile, isn't it? Because he knows, he's like, yeah, I got the good stuff.
I got the goods. You'll find out later, if you're lucky.
When I fuck the country.
Well, so moving on again from that, so it got deemed unlawful, and everyone hated his Brexit policy. He would not rule out a no deal. He kept on just basically baiting everyone. On the 3rd of September, he actually lost his working majority, which is something that even Theresa didn't do because she negotiated the deal with the DUP. But he actually lost his majority when Philip Lee, in the middle of Parliament, crossed the floor and went and sat with the Liberal Democrats. He literally, the middle of a session, just went, fuck this shit, I'm out, and just went and sat with the Lib Dems. And it's just like, yeah, I'm over here now. Fuck all y'all.
Fuck you guys.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Has that ever happened before?
Oh yeah, it's happened where people have crossed the floor, but it was just to lose his majority like that rather than just through him resigning or...
Yeah, it's because people have moved over, but it's not made didn't make that impact.
People have done it for to make a point, but that really made a fucking point.
To cost you your majority. Yeah. Just to openly walk around and go, I am your majority and I'm going.
Yeah, I'm
over
gone.
There.
But then it's like
proper flung the air around. No, you didn't.
Should have put a ring on it.
But I mean, not one to make a bad situation better. He then made it worse because later on that day, he then essentially sacked 21 more Conservative MPs. God. Including what's known as the father of the house, Kenneth Clarke. So he is the longest serving MP in Westminster. And he sacked them from the party. They essentially had 21 MPs remove the whip from them, so they were all sitting there as independents, so they were no longer part of the Conservative Party. So not only did he lose his majority by one, he then went in for a penny.
So when he gets rid of them, I thought they actually leave.
No, they're still MPs. They were voted in as MPs, so they can't lose their seat. They just lose the party whip, so they are no longer part of the Conservative Party.
So what did they do then? They just represent
They represent their constituencies as an independent.
Right. So you can run. You don't have to be part of a party to run. Like you could run It's just an application you do on that.
Well, what am I doing sitting here then?
You could run yourself. It's just an application that you do online.
Yeah, it's like £500, and you fill an application and you can run.
Yeah, it's just the fact that if you're part of a
few
party...
different people who can't run. Like, I think if you're active military, you can't run. Judges can't do it. I think clergy can't. And I know civil servants can't. And some other branches of government.
Right, okay.
But other than that, you can run for office whenever you want. And you don't have to have a party affiliation at all.
Well, coming soon. Vote for Dave. You know, it's out there.
Yeah.
Dave the Rave! Go for anyone!
Yeah. Well, so he lost his majority by 1. Then he lost his majority by 22. Then on the 5th of September was when Joe Johnson turned around and went...
That's the equivalent, like, you're stumbling a bit, thinking you've got your ground again, and then just face planting it.
Yeah. It's like when you miss a step going up the stairs and you think, oh, I'm all right, and then you just...
Yeah.
I saved him. I'm saved. Bump.
And you never think that your bro would leave you, you know.
No, that was hilarious.
When your bro walks away, you're like, you've got to be doing something wrong.
I mean, you know when you type LOL and you're not really LOLing?
Oh, yeah.
I LOL'd.
Oh, real life lolling.
Real life lolled. I genuinely, I was sitting and I was reading it and it just went, Joe Johnson resigns, and I literally just went, ah!
It's alol, isn't it?
Alol?
Alol, actual lol.
Actual lol, yeah. Actual laugh out loud.
Alol, god damn it.
You heard that first. Why just wait?
But then...
Copyright.
Yeah, copyright alol. But then, again, more after that, Amber Rudd then resigned as Secretary of State for Work and Pensions.
That was a big one, wasn't it?
That was a massive one because Amber Rudd has always been for the Conservatives.
She's the one who took the bullet, wasn't it?
She took the bullet for May. When Windrush happened, she was the one who took the blame, it was nothing to do with her.
And this is
absolutely nothing to do with her.
And this is how they thank her.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the party got decimated for the first few weeks that he was in power. So many people just went, no, fuck this shit, I'm leaving. So during all this as well, Boris has then got his team renegotiating the deal with Europe and clarifying some points, and they're all saying that they're not going to renegotiate, and all of the backbenchers and all of the opposition are saying that it's not worth renegotiating and it's ridiculous and we should just scrap this whole thing. And even at this point, the Labour Party have now turned around and said we should just have a people's vote. The Lib Dems have turned around and said, let's just scrap the whole thing altogether and not even bother with a people's vote. And Parliament's never been more separated. Meanwhile, Boris actually manages to get a deal. God knows how, because no one thought it was going to happen. I never thought it was going to happen. I was amazed when they said, Boris has come back with a new deal. I was like, what? Really?
And a brand new deal.
A brand new deal he's come back with.
Completely all new.
So much better than Theresa May's deal. Everything was changed, and then they read it, and I was like, "That's the same fucking deal."
No. He changed the font.
Sorry, he changed the font. Yeah.
What, to wingdings?
Yeah. So no one could read it. So they'd have to just take it on spec.
He changed it to ancient Greek.
The classics.
Yeah. Only those with extensive knowledge of the classics. But so in a nutshell, this deal, right, was virtually identical to the one that Theresa May brought back and got voted down and shot down 3 times.
But this time it's
different.
This time I'm giving up the deal.
The main bugbear that everyone had with the deal Theresa May brought back was something called the backstop, which we mentioned in the previous episode. It was a block between the north and south of Ireland.
And the Republic of Ireland.
Ireland land.
Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland.
That's pretty good.
I really apologise to anyone from Ireland for that travesty that has just come down the microphone.
I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
Did you think that would do it again?
Kiss me ass. From the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. You're fucking langer.
Hey.
See you, you fucking langer, you.
No, stop it now.
You know what a langer is?
I don't want to know what a langer is.
Later on,
if anyone listens from Cork, I apologise. Who you?
What was that, Jody?
So I just impersonate people that I know. So there's one who's too tall like that. Oh, you fucking langer. And that's how he used to fucking go. He goes,
he sounds like he's from Birmingham.
I thought that.
But it's because it's all different variants. So, but he's just on the outside. He's like just north of Cork, and it goes a bit deeper. Then mate Bill was He was just south of Cork, and that was more kind of like lighter, but dazed. So like Birmingham dazed, but bit lighter. No, they don't. No, why are you doing that? No, stop it now.
That sounds Welsh.
Right, and that's
I'll give you this great shit at accents.
It's like if you're making impersonations of people you know, it's like at least sound a bit like bloody Ireland.
We've had a brother.
Not random people that you know.
The thing is though, right? Do you know what? When it done it to them, yeah, and even they went, fucking hell. Right, so if they're agreeing that I'm saying
so
that sentence,
they went fucking hell. Was it followed by the words fucking hell? That was shit.
No. I mean, see, even
They're not real friends. They lie too much.
right. So
This is why Ian's like Boris Johnson. He surrounds himself with yes men.
yes,
Yeah.
So you do, and obviously I've failed that. You know?
Yes.
Yes,
Win.
yes, you have.
Noobs.
Damn, he's got me.
Yeah, even fucking thingies I can do what Scott.
That you
When
can
it-
do
when
one.
it- I can do Scottish accents.
Right, okay, no,
Your
because we're
boss.
not.
No, I need to hear this. No, this has got to be done. Just one little bit. Go on.
I've got Irish in my head now.
Which sounds probably.
Because it's that low, it's that fucking dead low. Like you had to
The
do
only
the low
two I
voice.
can do are the two girls that I used to work with in the bar, and one of them had the sing-songy. Oh, I don't know where I'm going here.
See, you trip it. That's what I'm saying. That's what you do.
That's it. This.
See, you get the thing.
But you've got their voice in their head, and then the other girl sounded like a docker because she was the one who was like, "Hey there, lads, you want a peanut curling there, lads? You want to pull your peanut Guinness? I'll give you a big peanut Guinness there. No fucking shamrocks in the top of the Guinness. No, that's fucking bullshit. That shit there."
Why you late? Get the fuck. No, go away. Come back now.
He sounds Indian. He sounds fucking Indian.
Tell me why you're late. Right. That was shite. That was
No, I
fucking-
thought it was good.
Right, because I hadn't danced
There was
for
little
fucking
bits. There was little bits that sounded
Kiss my
Scottish,
ass,
and then you
right.
go into Indian.
Oh, my fucking bullshit. My back fucking perfect. Pitch perfect. I'll have people from Edinburgh going, Ian, why were you late?
Why you late? Ian,
Oh, get the fuck no.
you little fucker, you. Why you late?
Fuck off.
Fuck off. Bastard. I can't do accents
see,
at all.
because I know that. Because that was a daily occurrence.
Yeah. So it's embedded.
Right, so
Sad.
back to what we were saying about the backstop.
If anyone wants to hire me for a job, I'm a very...
Voiceovers.
I'm very
Yeah. Voiceover jobs are available by contacting us. Contacting us at the emails below. So back to the backstop. The original whole thing that the deal was based on, and the reason that it failed was that there was a backstop between the north and the south of Ireland, and it essentially meant that there was going to be some sort of border and some sort of border checks, which, as anyone who knows anything about the tensions between Great Britain, Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and everything happened in between, affectionately known as the Troubles, which I think is downplaying it a little bit about what actually happened.
Yeah.
Having a border, not a good thing for anyone involved, so that was quite a big bone of contention. Now, Boris's deal gets rid of that border between the Republic and Northern Ireland. The problem is, it doesn't completely get rid of the border, it just moves it to the Irish Sea. Essentially, instead of having a border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, you've got a border between the entirety of Ireland, so the whole island of Ireland, and the rest of the UK, which means we would have to have some sort of customs, border checks, some sort of system in place, which wasn't completely ironed out when he brought it back.
I mean, all finished, from what I've got here, it would kind of be like us trading with the EU because they'd still, Northern Ireland would still fall under the
They'd
customs
fall under
union,
the customs union.
and other areas of the single markets as well.
Yeah.
So it would be like whatever deal we strike up with Europe, anything that goes through Ireland, we'd just be doing that as well. We'd have to pay charges on that. So when it got transferred to Ireland, Ireland's like obviously checks if products that they move back and forth, they'd still have to follow EU regulations.
Right.
And then the penalties would be incurred as it came back and forth to England, which would prevent a hard border.
But then it also would mean that Northern Ireland would essentially no longer be in the UK customs union.
Yeah.
Even though they kind of are, kind of wouldn't be. They'd be more aligned with the
Yeah,
EU.
EU.
Which means that would be another step for the reunification of Ireland, which some people are really for and then some people are really against. And some of the main supporters of the Conservatives at that time were the DUP, who are based in Ireland, and in their name they are the Democratic Unionist Party. They want to stay part of the UK. So that didn't really go that far into keeping them happy. It pissed them off quite a bit.
I think you can't do without doing a hard border, which will create tension.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of border checks. If we haven't got seamless free movement and seamless free trade, then you have to have some sort of border.
It's safer doing it on the water rather than just doing a hard border in the middle of Ireland. You don't want to create that segregation. You want that free movement there still, and I think it's just easier if you just do it between the two islands. It's not ideal, it's not what people want, but the whole situation isn't ideal, and it's, in all fairness, I can't fault him there. It's kind of like making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, it is, but the thing you can fault him on is that he said he wasn't going to do that. That's the thing you can fault him on.
Always
That's exactly what
he is so flippant. And I don't think you can trust anything he says. I think he just goes back and forth. You don't know where you stand with him, and it depends on what day, who he's talking to, where he's going to get the best reaction. And he's just saying what he thinks people want.
What it is at that time.
A politician, he's just a politician.
He's just a politician, Because it's the thing with him as well, is that if you look at his record in what he's done and what he said, he just chats. He just chats.
Chatty whammy, lad.
He chats whammy.
Chatty whammy.
So when he come back with that, obviously it pissed off a lot of people, and they were saying it's essentially the same exact deal. We don't want any kind of borders. Nobody wants any kind of borders. But you can't leave without having some sort of border. This is the whole point that we've got of different countries. Countries have borders. If you've got some sort of free trade or free movement agreement, then that's fair enough. But there's still a border there.
Yeah, there's still a line.
There's still a line to say this is our country, this is your country, and then you're saying, oh well, we're not going to have free trade. So obviously when something passes that line, it needs to be checked.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of checks and balances involved. We're never going to avoid that. And to say that it was going to be seamless was just a downright lie, funnily enough.
Yeah, no, it's just naive, silly.
Yeah.
And if anyone bought into that, well, you're naive and silly too.
Yeah. The whole lie that was predicated by the Leave campaign to say, it's going to be easy. We're holding all the cards. We're just going to be able to leave and be able to do whatever we want. Bullshit.
There's just too much to it. There's just
too much
so much. Yeah. And every decision you make, I think I've mentioned this in the past as well, the fact that, Jesus Christ, just getting a few people to go to the pub, which pub? If you've got 2 people you're asking, you can kind of figure it out. More people you're asking, everyone's got their input. And that's just one decision. Right?
We've got 27 member states in the EU.
Everyone putting their oar in. Everyone wanting their own best interests over fucking thousands of decisions.
Over decades worth of legislation that's been brought in. Over decades worth of cooperation that's been brought in.
This whole Brexit thing should have been literally like it's like a 10-year thing.
It's probably more than that. If you think about the EU was built since it's been going since the 60s. Realistically, if you go back to the seeds of it being brought in, we've been in it since the 70s. And to think that we've been in this union for 40 odd years.
With the same laws, or do the laws
The laws have evolved, but this is the point. Over those 40 odd years, there's been legislation brought in. Over 40 years, more and more added to, more and more we've adopted, more and more we've brought in ourselves, more and more we've changed, added to ourselves, brought in more, and you cannot pick apart 40 years worth of legislation in 2 years, even if everyone in the government was on the same page.
It's and that legislation as well, all that text refers to and from other pieces of legislation.
Every bit that you pick apart
interacts.
Makes 10 more problems.
You've probably done as you were a kid, and anyone out there, where you've got loads of squiggly lines and you've got point A and you're going to need to try to get to like point B.
Like a maze or something?
Yeah, like a little maze. I mean, you probably be in little colouring books and stuff where you've got to find the exit.
I could never find it.
Yeah, and you've got like 7 starts of which lines you're taking. You've got to follow the line round, and it's just a maze. They're like 7 little squiggly bits, right? But I feel that's a good analogy. Take that and extrapolate it.
Millions of times,
right? And have all of them, same thickness lines, same colour, and have them closer together. That's a little bit closer to what you're trying to unravel and reorganise. It's just mad. I mean, Jesus Christ, think about getting the Christmas deckies down, right? How long does that take? That's one set of lights. Do you know what I mean?
It's like the thing of the washing. So you do the washing and you get all your clothes together and you put it into a basket and then you throw it into the washing machine. It takes 40 minutes. Once it's washed, you throw it into the dryer. That takes about an hour and a half. And then you take it out. And how long does it take to fold it and put it into the wardrobe? 7 to 10 business days.
Everything's always so much longer than planned.
Everyone's got that chair that chair where the laundry goes.
Yeah, very true.
That's the deal, essentially. I'm not going to go into the proper ins and outs of the deal because essentially look at Theresa May's deal and then change about 3 things, and that's essentially it.
Yeah.
Suffice it to say, didn't go well. No one wanted it. Previous to Boris, the most unsuccessful Prime Minister ever was Theresa May because she just kept on getting voted down by massive majorities and really didn't get much done.
Boris went challenge accepted.
Boris went challenge accepted and immediately got shot down over every single vote that he could possibly get shot down on.
Big smile on his face. I beat you. He was looking right at the back bench, just going,
if I'm going to be shit, I'm going to be the best shit that I can be. There's no point in being bad if you can't be the worst.
I fucking suck, yeah.
After that point, well, not even after that point, during this is the thing, all of this happens at the same time.
Yeah, it's just a big free throw.
It sounds as though we're talking about this as though it was happening over years. This all happened in the space of a couple of weeks.
What we're talking about is not exactly linear. It's a bit mismangled, isn't it?
Everything's happening at the same time, and deals are being done in the back benches, and people are moving parties, and it's
going to give us a lot to talk about though in the coming weeks, isn't it?
Because God, when we start covering the election itself.
If anyone watched Game of Thrones and you thought that was fucky, yeah, okay, you take out the swords and stuff like that, but all the snidiness and backhanded crap.
I don't know, it is British parliamentary procedure. There's probably a couple of swords involved somewhere.
Fucking jousting.
Yeah.
That quite literally does happen within politics. That's how snardy everything is.
Everything's backstabbing and everything's dirty deals and everything's backroom deals and everything's, oh, well, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's all of this stuff was happening at the same time. We'll go on to the Ben Act, so you can take that away.
So the Ben Act, well, it's actually classed as the EU Withdrawal Act number 2. This forces the government to act, or like the representative government, which is your Prime Minister, Boris Johnson at the moment, to act if it came back as a no deal. So we can't have a no deal.
Have a no deal.
Yeah, they put the bill through.
So when was this Ben Act put in place?
So before they even prorogued Parliament, because as we said, all of this stuff was happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
So before Johnson even tried to bin them all off, they were putting things in place to make sure that he couldn't leave without a deal.
Because obviously he's trying to close Parliament so no one can do stuff.
Yeah.
They're obviously seeing this, hang on, he's going to push it towards a no deal here, so we're going to put him in a position where he can't.
It's a safety measure.
Yeah,
it's a safety net. It's a little safety net.
So that got passed with a majority.
So let me remind you of what Boris Johnson said previously.
Can you make a promise today to the British public that you will not go back to Brussels and ask for another delay to Brexit?
Yes.
And sorry.
I can.
And would you
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
So he said he's not going to go back. Now this forces him to go back. All this does is say he has to act. The Ben Act forces him to do something to try and prevent. So what he done, he had to send a letter for an extension, which he done. Sent a letter
to request it from the EU.
As much as he didn't want to.
As much as he didn't want to, he was forced. He has a legal obligation
By
to.
law, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, all the way through this as well, I need to remind you that they were going, I'm not going to do this. He was basically saying, I ain't going to do this.
I'm not doing it.
And it will be illegal for him not to do it.
Yeah. So he has to do something. So he sends the letter. So the original date is for 11 p.m. on the 31st of October 2019.
Yeah.
And he's asked for an extension for 11 p.m. 31st of January 2020. So we've just got, after Christmas, after New Year.
And that's just been put in.
Well, he sent that off and he didn't sign it.
What?
He didn't sign the letter.
Really? That was how petty it was. He sent it off.
He just sort of sent the letter.
Yeah, I've sent the letter, I just didn't sign it.
He didn't sign it to confirm, to say that he, to clarify this is actually from him.
Is that illegal as well?
Well,
no, it's not illegal, but what it does is technically the EU can say, well, we didn't know it was from you because you didn't sign it, it could have been sent from anyone.
Yeah, I mean, no one in the EU is ever going to do that because they know full well it's from him and they know what he's like.
He's just doing it to be a dick.
It's so petty, isn't it?
Oh my God, yeah.
Because he was being forced to do something he didn't want to do.
Yeah, I'm not getting
like
no way. I'll do this.
Because it legally didn't say, must be signed by you.
But even that, it's sent with a cover letter. It was sent with a cover letter by the British ambassador, explaining what it was as well.
Yeah.
And then alongside this, he sends another letter, which basically says to Tusk, I didn't really want this result. I didn't want to do this. You don't really have to get, the whole Senate together. You don't have to get everyone together to meet over it. Really sorry about the inconvenience. You know, I didn't want this. It's not like
what he didn't want Brexit. He's saying in a couple of
he didn't.
No, he's saying he
want-
didn't want to send the first letter.
He didn't want to send the first letter.
Right.
He was happy
wanted
with the
us
no
out.
deal. And he's basically, just in this little letter, like it was not going to get public. It's essentially kissing ass and slagging off everyone else, saying, you know, it wasn't me, it's everyone else. You know, they forced me to do this, not me.
Oh, what an absolute rat.
Kind of like kiss ass a little bit still,
Yeah.
and save face.
But he's essentially like sent the first letter and then sent another letter that said, "Didn't mean any of that. Nope." And then just said-
Just like, this is not me, and he's just,
and that's, oh my God.
But even-
that's our Prime Minister we've got now.
it gets worse.
Oh my God.
It gets worse because even during this time when he was saying that we didn't want the extension and they shouldn't give us an extension, we should just leave. If we get the extension, we have to field people to go to the European Commission. We have to actively still be part of the EU because we're still part of the EU.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that Boris kind of did a backhand threat of is that he was going to veto the European Union's annual budget just to basically fuck with them. Even though there'd be no benefit for him to do it, he was just going to do it just to fuck with them so that they wouldn't give us an extension.
It's like he's a big kid, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard stories and things, and I suppose this is why this is interesting, this podcast at times, because he's telling me stuff that I don't even know, and I'm like, for hearing it for the first time, it's like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, it's the people who are in power, some of the people who genuinely wield these amounts of power, you're amazed.
Yeah.
You're amazed that we're not all in nuclear ash
I know.
by
yeah.
now.
Whereas back in, like, through schools and stuff, they don't educate people more on how politics works and how society works. Their little feeling is the fact that they don't, because they don't want people to know. But
Yeah.
you don't really want your public fully understanding the depths.
An educated populace is a dangerous populace, that's what they say.
You don't want people knowing that. So why would you educate them on that? But that's wrong. You want people to know so you can actually push through and improve society. But obviously the people in power want to remain in power.
Yeah.
So they're not going to try and educate people who might say and go, hang on, he's a load of shite, this person's taking the piss.
He's a fucking idiot with floppy hair. Why the hell is he in charge of everyone?
Oh, it's shocking though.
Yeah, I mean, some of the random thing. It's like the little bits as well, again, happening at the same time as this. So his original prorogation of Parliament didn't go through. He then tried to push for a general election, which didn't go through. He then pushed for another prorogation of Parliament, only this time only for 3 days, so that he could get a Queen's speech in.
I was going to say, how did he have the nerve to even push another one after?
Because
it's Boris Johnson.
Because it's Boris Johnson.
Why are we even asking this?
Because, right,
I like
so...
the way, so Dave's sitting here now with a little bit of rolled up yard, and he's rolling it back and forth, de-stressing.
angrily,
Really?
angrily trying to...
Just like, I hate this guy so much.
But this is it, is that then he actually managed to get that one through, so he could prorogue Parliament then, but only for 4 days, while he managed to do a Queen's speech. The problem with it is that everyone in Parliament knew full well that he had no intention of delivering any of the things in his Queen's speech because he wanted another general election. So, the Queen's speech essentially was a party political broadcast that Boris Johnson managed to get the Queen to read out. And even when the Queen's reading it out, you can see in her face that she's basically like, I can't believe that I'm constitutionally required to do this. I can't believe this little shit has won and managed to get me to do this.
But because it's actually quite strict what they can and can't put in the speech. So the fact that he's able to wrangle that round.
But he's managed to basically say, oh, all of this stuff that we're going to do as a government, and he's put it in the Queen's speech, but the Queen's speech doesn't mean shit because the government is now being dissolved as this next election comes through.
Yeah.
So everyone who saw that Queen's speech thought, oh, all this amazing stuff that he's going to do, all of it's bullshit.
Yeah.
None of it is binding. None of it was said to Parliament. Doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah.
So is there now major tensions between the Queen and Johnson then?
No, well, this is the thing, is that a lot of people think the Queen has a lot of power. She doesn't. She's a constitutional... She's not...
She's a face.
She's a figurehead. She's a figurehead. As part of our government, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and she's part of that, but she can't actually affect anything realistically in terms of the way the country's run. That is run by Parliament.
Yeah.
Is it true that the Queen can get someone murdered and get away with it?
No. It was something that wasn't written out of law, but she can't. She can't actually get arrested for anything. She can't be convicted of a crime in the UK. she could physically go and stab someone in the face and get away with it.
What?
That's written into law. But I very much doubt she actually would.
I don't know, you know, when she's on her last legs, she might just be like going on like those fellas in Streets of Rage with the knives walking around.
I reckon.
What's that? So, like,
I reckon
what,
she'd
like
get Philip,
royal
you know.
immunity?
You embarrassed me for the last time, Philip.
Like a royal immunity or something?
Yeah, she's got a royal immunity. She's the only one of the royals who's got it. The current monarch, she can't
So
get done. For
also any saving monarch has.
only the head, so the Queen, or when.
That's what I'm saying, the saving.
Yes, she's immune from prosecution. And here's the funny thing is, she doesn't need a passport either, because all British passports.
She just whips out a £5 note and goes, "Boom, bitch."
Well, no, this
Change to the side.
This is the thing. It's down to the wording of the passport. All British passports are issued on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen.
That's right, yeah.
So she's the Queen. She's not issuing it on behalf of herself, so she doesn't need a passport.
No, she hasn't got a passport, but you can still tell her, "Go with your passport." Oh, you're not coming in, sorry, love.
You'd love to be the one, yeah.
Boom, my
You would love to be the one to ask her the question, knowing you, hey, laddie, what's this?
And you just get a fucking security team, just kick your head in, you go, "Worth it!"
So worth it.
Even if you get a slap from the cage,
I'm never washing that cheek again.
She'd be like, "How are you? Blight, are you? Rapscallion."
One is very amused. But this is it. It's like, do they still have halfpennies? I'm sure I had one somewhere. But this is it. It's Johnson's just so much stuff happened all at the same time.
It really is an entertaining
It really is.
figure, at least, like.
Yeah. Well, we need to press on, because we have
We are just spiraling here. There's so much you can talk about. We just need to crack on with this. So essentially, he also sends another letter a little bit earlier on as well, basically pressing on the matter. Actually, he said this to all the MPs and all peers coming up to October. He said the public wants us to get Brexit done so the country can move on. The best thing for the United Kingdom and for the European Union is for us to leave with this new deal on the 31st. Right, he was pushing it, he was sending letters to everyone to try and get that deal through, when it just epically flopped.
didn't happen.
But then there's in Parliament there's a bit more hoo-ha going on as well. We had a change of Speaker of the House of Commons.
I was gutted when I found out he was going. I love him. I really do.
Here.
Order. Order.
No clapping.
Behave, young man. Behave yourself. Yeah, I was gutted when I heard he was leaving, because he's a proper funny character. I mean, literally, I could sit watching those things where he's just like, "Order! Order!" for the next 10 years. It's just hilarious.
He was a funny fella, and he didn't take much crap off people.
Oh no, he took no crap. And the thing about him was, I mean, a lot of people said he was not impartial and he was really anti-Brexit. If you see the things he let through, you see the things that he actually allowed to go into debate, he let everyone speak.
Yeah.
And he was a really good champion of the backbenchers as well, because a lot of them used to just get ignored. He always made sure people would be heard.
Yeah.
And that's what you want the speaker to do.
He wants it to be a fair room.
Yeah.
And
everyone gets their bit.
He's done it well, and this is our little sign off to him, because he's he done his job well.
Yeah, tip of the hat to
John Bercow.
now ex-speaker John Bercow. I am gutted he's gone. I hope his replacement is even half as good.
I mean, I've heard apparently a few good things about him. So Sir Lindsay Hoyle is the new Speaker of the House, and he beat Chris Brandt. It was actually quite close, in all fairness. It was 325 to 213. I know it seems like a big margin, but it's actually not. Percentage speaking,
it's not that much, really.
There's not too much in it. And he was a Labour MP for Chorley since 1997. He seems very well respected in the House.
Yeah, I think, wasn't he one of John Berco's deputies as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he knows the job as well, which is another thing.
He's prepared for it, he's ready for it, he's optimistic, he's going to make some changes, he wants to keep everything fair and unbiased, and he's keeping on. In his speech, he continued the no clapping, which, which is good, nice little...
I am going to miss the order, though.
Well, nice little, tipped his cap to John Bercow, which was nice to see.
Yeah. Sorry to see him go, but it's probably time. I mean, realistically, if I was him, I'd have been pissed off with this after a week.
Yeah.
Well, did you read about shortly after he's left? He's been able to say his own
he's
opinions,
been able to...
and he thinks the whole Brexit thing is a joke.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, he does.
Well, because he seems like he's got a few brain cells, so,
I think that would have been really hard, though. When you get elected to be an MP and then you're doing as much as you can, you're putting your political opinion across, and your job is to essentially be the voice of your constituency. But when you become the speaker, you have no allegiance. You can't even be loyal to the party that got you in that place in the first place. That must be insanely hard to just turn around and go, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
He's Labour.
No, he wasn't. He was Conservative. No.
Labour for
Bercow.
No, sorry, I thought you meant new guy.
Oh no, I was just going to ask what party was Bercow from?
Yeah, Bercow was Conservative.
My apologies.
Yeah, Bercow was Conservative. And yeah, I think he did really well.
It is hard when if you're part of any party or you're politically minded, you'd hope anyway that you'd actually strongly believe in something.
Yeah, you'd stick to your convictions.
And the fact is to put that all aside to make sure everything is fair, and even if someone's saying something completely stupid, you've got to still look at them and go, well, okay, it's your opinion, you're entitled to it.
We're going to allow you time to speak.
I wonder what kind of process they do to make someone become the speaker, because
it's a vote.
I know it's a vote, but I mean, is it like a test as well or something to be like, will this person be impartial?
No, there's nothing it's literally just...
like all of politics.
Yeah.
People who quite literally can't tie their shoelaces, if you can win a popularity vote, which is all politics is, getting into politics, that's it.
So flip to flip it a little bit. This guy, what's this new guy's name again?
It's Sir Lindsay Hoyle.
So Lindsay Hoyle, right? If he comes into it being from, did you say Labour Party?
Labour,
yes, he was Labour.
So is he going to be biased towards the Labour Party? Do you think?
Well, he could be. But then Bercow could have been biased towards Conservative, and I don't think he was, really.
Yeah, if people disagree and think you are being biased, you can be challenged and deselected, and that goes down to a vote as well.
Well, they did actually try and do that to Bercow as well. They tried to... they had a vote of no confidence in him.
When was
the Conservatives tried to bin him off. This was during Theresa May's tenure. They tried to get rid of Bercow, and they failed because everyone knows that he is impartial. He's one of the few speakers who's been voted in, I think, 3 times over. That doesn't generally happen. They usually bin them off after a while, but everyone knew Bercow was for Parliament, not for a party, which is rare.
And he's retired off his own accord as well, and he's just...
Yeah, he's left on a high. He's not done anything wrong. I've got a lot of time for the guy.
Even said as well, if he left on the 31st of October, so that was the last day he presided, and he said he would hold on if they were bump forward a general election. He would have held out to oversee that as well.
Yeah.
But because the general election is not till December the 12th, he's out the door.
They've got the new guy in, so he's going to take over.
Yeah. Right, okay.
But then the funny thing is, because this is a general election, the new guy may not even sit as Speaker, because the thing with the Speaker, traditionally, the Speaker does not have his seat contested. So he would go into Chorley, which is a fairly safe Labour seat anyway, so realistically it doesn't mean that he would have been thrown out. But the Conservatives or the Brexit Party or anyone like that could actually throw in a bid to take his seat from him, and then he wouldn't be Speaker anymore because he wouldn't be an MP. But traditionally they don't generally do that. I think we're going to have to see what happens in the coming election.
Right, so that brings us on to the general election itself. Now, how was it forced? There's all finish. Why did Boris want the election?
He couldn't do anything, realistically.
Quite clearly, he needs to bolster his numbers. He needs a few more people voting for Conservatives. They need a few more asses in those seats.
He's managed to lose his own majority. It's not surprising.
It's going to be a very interesting election turnout, this one, though, isn't it? Because he is hoping so much for anything now, really, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's clutching at straws,
when
really.
When he's already sacked, how many? 21 members?
sacked 21. He's lost his own brother. He lost another member of parliament.
It's not looking good, is it?
He's giving Theresa May a run for her money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and he's following suit as well. Like, you know, she done a general election and weakened herself more. And chances are he could do the exact same thing.
He could, but then
He's got nothing to lose, though, in all fairness.
I would not be surprised if he actually got some numbers out of this, but then the smaller parties might get quite a lot of numbers. I really could not call this one. I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah, that's it.
So there are different ways in which he can force through an election to bolster his numbers. Now, there's a fixed term Parliament Act. Now, he can use this to actually pick a date in which he wants a new election, a new general election, but this requires 2/3 of Parliament to vote on it, which is a minimum of 434 seats need to say
he's never getting that.
Yeah, that is not happening. So what he can do is a few ways in which he can bypass this to try and get just a majority. Right, just that extra one seat. He can get a vote of no confidence against him. He can get a vote of no confidence by his own party.
He can get his own party to turn around and say,
a vote
we're
of
not go for no confidence.
And cause another general election. But the way he's moved forward with is they've put through a small bill which allows them to change the date. So they've put a bill to say, yeah, we can change the date of the election for this temporarily, for this small reason, which that only means then they need over 50%. They get that, which is less than the 2/3.
Yeah.
And now we can change it.
Now, the only reason he even got a majority, because not forgetting, he lost his majority.
Because he joined with the DUP, right?
Well, yeah, but even with the DUP, he managed to lose his majority there. Because he sacked a load of people, essentially. So the only reason that he's even managed to get this general election now is because the EU has turned around and given us the extension, because that's what all the rest of the parties were waiting on.
Yeah, so we've got an extra, what is it, we've got November, December, so we've now got an extra 3 months to figure something out. Well, no, sorry, I apologise, because we've got the general election now, you got till December before they come in. Then they're probably going to need a week to organise themselves, which takes you to mid-December.
Then Christmas is happening and they have 2 weeks off.
Yeah, then they have 2 weeks off for that, which starts on like the 20th or something, isn't it?
In fact, you might have 3 weeks off. I can't remember exactly what that period is, but they have a period off over Christmas.
So whoever's in government will essentially have about 4 weeks to
renegotiate a new deal if it's not Boris Johnson in government, or cancel Article 50, or decide that they're going to do another people's vote. So essentially, unless Johnson gets in and follows through with his plan of sod it, let's just leave without a deal, there ain't no way we're leaving it on January the 31st.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, if another party gets in, they're only going to ask for more time, right? Yeah. Because they've just been in, we need more time. And if Boris gets in, he's just going to play hardball again, turn around and go, listen guys, I've only got a couple of weeks here.
It's either my deal or
it's like we can predict what Boris is going to do.
Yeah, he's a conniving little sod. Yeah. So you know exactly what he's doing. You know this is all planned out. You know he only asked for 3 months specifically for that reason. You notice how he didn't ask for 6 months, 8 months, none of that. 3 months.
Well, the last extension, I think it may have been Macron who turned around and said, I don't know why they're only asking for an extension until October. Why don't we just give them an 18-month extension and let them sort this out? Again, it's just
he's being snardy. He's counting on the fact that there's going to be more opportunities, and if he can strengthen himself, then he gets his no deal. If he can strengthen himself, get the people in he wants in, he might get his no deal, or at a push the deal that he's changed.
Yeah, there's his little Theresa Light deal.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't get it, he's got another party in, and they're in shit creek, and he can turn around and start saying, well, they're not doing a very good job at this, are they? You brought me out, I was trying to sort things out, I had great ideas, and then you just put these loads of crap in. Well, essentially, because that's what whoever gets it, whoever's in there is fucked for a little bit.
I don't think any of UK Parliament, no one's going to come out smelling the roses.
The lovely situation that we're in.
Yeah.
We're fucked. And finally, folks, we are done. That's it. Woo! Final. No more Brexit.
Until it actually finishes.
I mean, yeah, we will give you when it's absolutely over. we will give you a little summary
Do you ever get
of
the
what's went
feeling
on.
that we're going to be doing Brexit episodes for the next 25 years?
It's kind of like Rambo or like Star Wars. It's just never going to end.
It's never going to end.
You'll have a break from it. You'll have a break for it. But, you know, we'll be back. Revenge of the Brexit. Do you know?
Yeah.
The last Brexit. Return of the Brexit.
Return of the Brexit revengeance.
A new hope of
Brexit Genesis.
Well, like fucking Terminator. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. Die already!
Brexit salvation. But again, thanks for joining us on this. Thanks for sticking through this. We know it was a bit longer than we originally intended, but we hope you've enjoyed it nonetheless.
We hope it not only had a bit of fun with it, but maybe learned something as well. For us, a big part of this is entertainment and it's to inform, to, you know, if someone learns something or takes a bit of interest in what we're talking about and go and research it themselves, you know, we've helped someone, we've enlightened someone, and that's brilliant. And if you have it, if it's inspired you to maybe go look more into your local politics wherever you're from,
great.
We appreciate it. Give us some feedback.
Give us some feedback.
Yeah, that's a great message to send out to it, really, isn't it? If that's the very least we've enabled someone to do, fantastic.
You see, I reckon realistically, if I've made someone laugh while they're sitting on the bog, I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah.
But if you've taken something more away from this, awesome.
If you've laughed while drinking, spat on someone, please write on. That will be the ultimate sod learning something, right?
Oh yeah, if we get an actual spit take.
I gobbed on the back of someone's head, right, on the bus. I'll be like, my life is complete.
End of podcast. We have done what we
Mike out.
Well, again, thanks for listening. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, pass us on to anyone that you think might know us. It helps us grow as a podcast. It helps us bring you more and more content. If you have any ideas of what you would like to hear in the future, drop us a line. Details are in the description below. And if you're listening on a platform that allows it, give us a comment, give us a like. And thanks again.
Cheers, folks.
Really appreciate it, folks.
We
Look
will be
forward
back
to it.
next week with a few random stories.
Yeah,
and
keeping it light after that little the heavy sesh. So probably next week or two might have a few light ones for you. Keeping it funny, keeping it relaxed.
And we'll inform you of our next deep dive when we think you deserve to know.
Yeah, when we think of it.
We do have a few things in the pipeline, but we'll hope it'll be we'll hope it'll be
But
a
the plumber
surprise.
should be around soon. We'll had those tacos.
Oh, could do me a taco right now.
Taco.
Right, guys, we love you all. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye.